And did you pray?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot?
Yeah, because she did. I mean, she went to Mass every single day, you know. And I prayed for her and she prayed and we all prayed.
And Ronan, when you were praying, who were you praying to?
I was praying to God, yeah.
And what was your figuring of God?
Visually?
Yeah. Who and what were you praying to?
I mean, I'm reading a book at the moment actually called The Shack. It's quite interesting and it's exactly talking about this. This guy loses his daughter and you know, God appears to him and God is a big black woman. And he said, "You're God? I mean, this is not what I expected." I was, you know, the beard and the long white robe, you know. I have to say I'd be pretty similar, you know. I'd be thinking the big beard, you know, the whole lot, yeah. I mean, you know, images of Jesus also, you know, the Jesus that we know.
And did you have devotion to any other saint or any other figure?
Ma'am, St. Anthony was Ma'am's, you know, and Padre Pio and St. Anthony,
Pio.
They were the ones Ma'am, you know, would pray to a lot. Over the years, she owed St. Anthony an awful lot of money, I remember. She used to always say that.
And did you not send her to Padre Pio? Did you?
Yeah, she went and, you know, she went off with Keith's ma'am. She went off to Medjugorje. And, you know, she was, I mean, listen, she was devout. I mean, you know, like so many other mothers and fathers in this country, she was 120% a believer to the very last day. She prayed the night before she died to say, "God, take me. I can't take any more pain." And the next day she died.
So then your reaction immediately afterwards would have been anger against God, I presume?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I was, you know, questioning my faith. I thought, this doesn't make any sense to me, you know. Why? You know, and then and all these people are saying these things to you, oh, the good die young, and oh, you know, God wanted to take the good ones, you know, he needs them.
Rubbish.
Absolute
nonsense.
waffle, you know, don't come to me with that. And so I was angry and I had enough and, you know, I definitely turned my back for a while on God.
Tell me about the foundation now, that this wonderful good that came out of this dreadful thing.
You know, a lot of negative feelings in the family, for all of us, towards, you know, a lot of different things and just anger and confusion. So we tried to channel all that negative vibe and energy into something positive, and Linda came up with this idea, why don't we start the Ronan Keating Foundation? We were going to help people that were in our position. Because we had to educate ourselves very quickly about cancer, you know. None of us knew anything about cancer at all. So as soon as we found out that Mum had a lump on her breast, we educated ourselves overnight and you know, we were naive and realised that early detection is your best chance of survival, you know. You know, if you catch it early, it can be cured. Already there's a 6% increase in the survival rate of breast cancer in this country in the last 6 years. I mean, that's a huge step, massive step. We're going the right way, thank God. So yeah, we set this up. We've 3 mobile units on the road in Ireland, but oncology nurses on board. People go on board, they speak to the nurses, find out more about cancer, how to check themselves, and we can fast track to a specialist and so on in your area.
Wonderful, just helping people.
That's all it is. It's a free service. It's education and awareness. That's it. We've had 100,000 people on board the units in Ireland alone.
And you have given a great deal of your time to it. You've done the marathons.
Yeah, I have a lot going on. I have 2 marathons this year. I have Chicago, which I'm running with 150 Garda Síochána in October, which I'm really looking forward to the whole process and doing it. And I've walked across Ireland twice, 400 miles. But the one thing we've done this year, which I feel is going to be probably our greatest achievement, is that we've brought what our teaching into schools. 750 schools across the country have accepted it. It's part of the curriculum, SPHE. You know, you learn it at that age, it's there with you for life. And we can really change things in this country, you know, because of that.
Roughly the total amount collected so far over the years for the...
In Ireland alone, we must have raised 4.5 million over the last 5-6 years, which is fantastic.
In the midst of all of this, you were still performing and travelling.
Yeah,
and
when Mum died,
and
and I thought the answer for me was to get back straight into work again. So I did, and, you know, about a week into it, I broke down.
What did you do?
I took some time off. Yvonne and I went away and, you know, we took some time off and then I got married and, you know, that really helped. Yvonne was my rock, you know, and still is today. I mean, without her, I wouldn't be where I am. She was the one who helped me to see clearly and, you know, kept my feet grounded and you know, stopped me drinking and all of those things. I mean, love eventually, you know, is the one thing that gets you through these things.
How soon after your mum died did you marry?
Mum died in February. It was the end of April. Last day of April we got married.
Was that a quick decision?
To some people it would seem that. We were friends for a long time. So, you know, for us it was a very natural thing. And our families didn't know nobody. We kept it on the QT. We just wanted to do it our way. We didn't tell a sinner.
And you missed your mum?
Yeah, I did. I did miss my mum, yeah. I really missed her, and, but for Yvonne and I, we got married for each other, not for anybody else. And then I had a church blessing as well with just a close family and friends.
Why?
Because it's, because I wanted to be married in the eyes of God as well as, legally. And so did Yvonne.
Where do you think your mum is?
She's around me. I mean, she's around all of us. I can feel her all the time. I mean, I can hear her telling me things. I can hear, and maybe that's just a past voice that I know what her reaction would be to something, that I hear it when the time is necessary, when the time is about. But, I do feel her presence. I do feel her protecting us, minding me, all of us.
Do you think that after you die you will see her again?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Positively?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, do you think there would be a day of judgment?
I'm not sure about that, to be really honest. I'm not sure. I don't know if we get judged. I don't know if there's a heaven and there's a hell and, a purgatory as such and all of those things. I'm not sure about that. I still haven't figured that out.
You used to believe it?
Yeah, it's just because it's all I knew and that's just the way it was. It was drilled into you. When you're growing up as a kid, you fear the local parish priests, and I had a bit of an issue with that as I got older. Your priests are supposed to be your friends, and they're supposed to be, people that you can, lean on, I guess, and people that you can, ask for help. But I remember in particular, the priest, you'd be afraid of your life of the local parish priest. The kids would never go near him. And that was not because, we knew, there was none of these allegations back then about, child molestation or so on. You just didn't, just afraid of your life. And I thought, you're not supposed to fear these people,
And with regard to the whole abuse scandal in the church and so on, presumably your priest friends say, well, don't tar us all over.
Absolutely, and I'm not, by any means. And I have nothing happened to me, thank God, and anyone I know. I have friends that are priests. I go to Mass, I do go to Mass, but, I do stand back and listen to what they have to say and take some of it with a pinch of salt.
And do you derive anything from going to Mass?
I derive more from sitting in the church speaking to God myself than I would from going to Mass.
Just an empty church?
And yeah.
What do you do when you're there?
I pray. I pray to Mom, I pray to God, I pray to Yvonne's dad. I pray to, whoever I feel, I want to speak to at that time.
And is the form of prayer just talking to them, or is it the ritualized prayer?
Both. I'll speak to them first and then I'll say my prayers at the end. Yeah.
And do you feel better coming out?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the only place I can speak to God is in a church. I speak to him all the time.
Your talent and your gift for music, do you think that is God given?
Yeah, all of our talents, are God-given, yeah. You see, you can't be a believer in God and not believe in, that we are creatures of God and that what we have is given to us by God. So, yeah.
And so do you see it as an obligation to use that to the best advantage?
Yeah, and all that I do, I mean, from what I have as a singer to the opportunities I have to help other people, I think, are the things that we're supposed to do. If you have the ability, you do it. You can't waste what you have. So you have to use it.
I hear your mother talking now.
Yeah, all right, okay. All right.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, whether people like it or not, you have to use it, yeah.
You talk about your mum all the time, but not your dad.
No, my dad's around me every day. I see him every day. He's here. My dad and I, we have a great relationship, now. It wasn't so good at times. But I was young and silly, I made mistakes when Mum passed away. We had a falling out, as such, and we drifted apart.
What did you fall out over?
Loads of different issues that I don't need to talk about publicly, but when you're 21 years of age, you think you know it all and you don't, feck off. And being a father myself, really allowed me to realise the mistakes that I'd made. And I apologised and I said sorry to him and asked him to come back into our lives, and he did, thank God, and it's better than it's ever been, It's nice to have a dad,
And were the kids essential to that reconciliation?
Yeah, well, my son being born was a big part of that. I wanted my son to have a grandfather. I wanted to have a dad. I wanted my dad to see his grandson. All of those elements. But I realised like I messed up, so, you know, it was me that